Hey YouTube, it's Dillon James, and on today's video, we're going to be talking about the NBA and how the sports card market has reacted to the start of the season. So the NBA season is in full swing, and we had some big headlines heading into this year. Will Ben Simmons leave Philadelphia? Will LeBron James make it back to the NBA Finals with the Los Angeles Lakers? Can Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks repeat a championship once again? And there are some headlines that are still out there that we haven't gotten answers to yet. It's kind of early in the season. We're only a few weeks in. But today we're going to be talking about some of the cards and some of the players that are leading the league right now in points and also assists to see what's happening with their cards as the season progresses this year. But before we get into it, let's look at some of the standings this year for the league. And as of right now, with Philadelphia having the situation they're having with Ben Simmons, you can't really tell on the court because they're playing really well as a squad. Joel Embiid being the leader there for Philadelphia. They are 8-3 currently and leading the Eastern Conference by a game over the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls and the Washington Wizards. Now, all four of those teams have been playing quite well this year. Miami's playing really well too, but Philadelphia leading the pack currently with the leader of Joel Embiid, 4-2 at home and 4-1 on the road. Fantastic so far, although they are 0-3 in the division. Let's go into the Western Conference, however. The Golden State Warriors, looking like the Golden State Warriors. They are 9-1 right now. Steph Curry is playing at a very, very high level this season. We'll be talking more about him later in this episode. But again, the top four, Utah Jazz, Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns. Phoenix still up there with Chris Paul and those Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker and players along those lines. Great season so far for these guys. Let's see if that momentum continues heading into the postseason this year. But number one thing I want to see too right here is the Los Angeles Lakers. They're number 8 right now. They're 6-5 currently. They're 3.5 games back from the lead. They haven't been playing so hot. They've been trying to get Russell Westbrook in that scenario to see if he can play at a different role in that offense, because it's been kind of a struggle to get him acclimated to the Los Angeles Lakers so far. But they are 6-5. They're still in the playoff hunt as of right now. Once again, it's early in the season, but it's still interesting to see them coming out of the gate 6-5 early in the season like that. So let's look also at the scorers and also the top players in points and assists as well. The top three we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be looking at Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Giannis. Kevin Durant at a 29.5 points per game clip. That's incredible so far. He's been on the Brooklyn Nets. We knew they were going to be a favorite coming into the season, and looking back at those standings as well, I mean, they're number 6 currently. They're 7-4, but it's really, really tight in the Eastern Conference. Eastern Conference is going to be a toss-up to see who actually makes it out of the East to make it to the NBA Finals this year. But with Kevin Durant, he is going to be the point leader now, with Steph Curry right behind him at 27.6 and Giannis right behind at 27.3. Now on the assist side, we got Chris Paul, Trey Young, and James Harden. Chris Paul, 11.3 assists per game so far. Absolutely crazy to see him playing at the same level he was playing last year in the playoffs before their untimely departure from the playoffs last season. Then we have Trey Young at 9.5 assists per game, and we have James Harden at 8.5 assists per game in Brooklyn. So two of those players being Brooklyn Nets players. That's a pretty big stat there. So we'll see more action from those two players and from that team heading into the NBA season as they try to get to the NBA Finals this year with the Brooklyn Nets. So let's look at Kevin Durant first. He is our first player we're going to be looking at. So once again, he has been playing quite well. The last game was against the Bulls, and he had 38 points in that game. He's been killing it this season so far, keeping up that pace of 29.5 points per game. But let's look at his card prices and see how they're doing so far. So this is the Supersonics, the Sonics jersey card that he had back in his rookie year, and it's valued at about $6,000 so far. But let's look at the price over the past 12 months. It has been kind of crazy. So we see here on April 10th, it was at $11,000. August, there was one sale of $120. However, it is a So we have My Slabs, and we also have StockX included in our statistics now, or our values when it comes to sports cards on Cardbase. So you can look for that now, and you can also add those to your shopping list too if you want some cards from My Slabs or from StockX. But with this, we see on August 10th there was a sale of 120. We kind of negate that because it wasn't a card that was PSA 10. I've already reported it, so we'll get that data straightened out. But we look at Kevin Durant here. His card, it still looks like it's trending upward. So we see on September 18th it was at 5,100, then it was at 5,755 on October 9th, and October 16th it was at 6,000. So it has been trending upwards for this card. This card's a big card if you can get in a PSA 10, and the pop count is very, very low on this Kevin Durant rookie card as well. It's a very highly sought after card in the NBA. So let's look now at number 2, Stephen Curry. He's been playing lights out as well. 50 points in his last game against the Atlanta Hawks, the Trey Young led Atlanta Hawks, which we'll talk about him later in the episode, like I said once again. But 50 points in that game. He's been playing at a crazy level so far. Let's see if his cards are showing that as well. So we're looking at the 2009 Topps rookie card from Steph Curry. It's valued at $11,100, but let's look at the value over the past 3 months, and it stayed pretty solid at that price. I have a feeling this is kind of like the height of his price when it comes to this card, because even if we look at the top 12 months, the past 12 months of this card, I mean, the highest price was $18,533. That was the highest price for this card back in February of this year. There was a dip, but again, I believe it was either a card that wasn't a PSA 10 or something along those lines, so it has been reported. But yeah, once again, I mean, this card has trended down a little bit since then. Since February, it's trended down quite a bit, but it's kind of leveling out here at the $11,000 mark. We can see if it goes up. I mean, as the season progresses, if the Golden State Warriors continue to play at the high level they're playing right now, and they have Klay Thompson back and he's playing at a high level, I think the Golden State Warriors can make a run this year at the championship, especially how we've seen the Los Angeles Lakers this year. They have not been playing at the caliber they're expected to play, and so we might see a change of the guard back to the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference if they continue to play at the level they're playing right now. Once again, this card at $11,000 right now, but it might be able to see some growth over the season as long as Steph Curry keeps up this torrid pace that he's having right now with the Golden State Warriors. So next we have Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is playing quite well for the Milwaukee Bucks. However, the Bucks are not returning the favor for him because they are 4-6 on the season thus far. So as they're defending their championship from last season, we'll see if they'll be able to pick up the pace as the season wanes this year. But currently, Antetokounmpo has 11.1 rebounds per game. He's leading third in the league in scoring at 27.3 points per game as well. So good numbers for Giannis thus far. But let's see if his cards are showing that as well. So this is his Panini Prism PSA 10. Currently at $19.50 is the price there for a PSA 10. We look at the past 14 days. It is trending a little bit up, actually. So November 6th at $17.92, but now at $19.50 on November 7th. And we can look in the past 3 months as well, just see what these prices have done. And except for this abnormality, it looks like that the card price has been hovering around $2,000 since then. So kind of steady with this card. We'll see if it can pick up throughout the season if they're able to make it to a championship and win the championship for a second year in a row. That would increase this to make it to where there'd be a better ceiling than just $2,000. And I have a feeling that would happen if he did win a championship, which it's kind of hard for us to say that he's not going to win a championship in the next 5 years once again. So we'll have 2 championships under his belt. But I mean, we'll have to see if Milwaukee can help him get there. And if not, we'll see if he might go somewhere else. So we'll keep an eye on Giannis to see if he is able to make it to a second championship with the Milwaukee Bucks and see where his card goes from there. So next we have Chris Paul. This is going into our assists leaders in the league thus far. Chris Paul is leading the league with 11.3 assists per game. And he's been playing quite well for the Suns. Suns are returning the favor for him. They're 6-3 this season so far, and they're trying to make it back to the NBA playoffs and hopefully the NBA Finals as well. But let's look at Chris Paul's rookie card. It's valued at $226. Now, this card is very, very low pop, and if you can get your hands on it, it's a good one to get for sure. Looking at the latest eBay sales, the last one was on November 2nd for $226. But yeah, this card is a very, very good card to get, especially with the pop. I mean, it's a very, very low pop card. It is a base card, but I mean, it's Chris Paul. He's one of the best players in the league. He's still playing at a very, very high level, even though he is older than quite a few players in the league currently. But yeah, this card peaked in June 14th at $700, and I have a feeling that's not the ceiling for that card. I have a feeling it can go up higher than that, but currently it's sitting around $226. It has seen a little bit of a bump since the end of October. When the season started, it was around 250 or so, bumped up to 273, went back down, but it's starting to come back up once again. So it looks like the 202 mark is the floor for this card. So as of right now, it's probably on the up end trend. So we'll see how Chris Paul continues to play for the Phoenix Suns this year. Now moving on to Trey Young. Trey Young's number 2 in assists, 9.5 per game. And the Hawks are 4-7. They're struggling so far. Trey Young has been trying to keep that team afloat, but we'll see if Atlanta can make it to the playoffs this year on the shoulders of Trey Young. And we'll look at his Don Russ 2018 card Optic. And this card is only valued at $100. It's a pretty good price for a card like this. Let's look at the past 3 months, and there has been some up and downs for this card, some ebbs and flows. The highest price was at $180. That was the highest price on August 17th in the past 3 months. So this card continues to kind of go down as well. So the card market overall, before we get to our last card, that's James Harden, let's look at the overall card market for basketball this year. And it's crazy to look at this because in December of last year, December 28th, the index indicated that it was at 1612. That was the value they put on the market for modern cards for the NBA. That was at 1612. Now, fast forward to today, and the index is at 663. It's lost almost 1,000 points over the past 8 months, 10 months. Absolutely insane to see that we've had such a meteoric fall of the NBA market. However, like we talked about before in videos on Cardbase before, I have said that with the NBA, there was a lot of NBA. It was a saturated market for a very, very short time because after COVID shutdowns, they came back into the league. They had a shortened playoff there. They had like a playoff tournament. And then after that, they had a very, very short off season heading into the regular season from last year, 2020-21. But this year, they're actually coming in off a full off season, and they have a full season this year again. I think this number will rise. I think this is the new floor for the NBA at about 663, around the 600 mark on the index. That's about the floor when it comes to the NBA. I do see it rising once again. Will it hit the peak like it did in December of last year? Maybe. I don't think it's going to get to that point. However, it will rise. It will rise from the 600. I believe these cards will continue to, their values will go higher just because of the season and people getting their eyes back on basketball and not being, out of basketball, not feeling as though there's too much basketball on television, and having that lag of basketball there. So James Harden is the last player we're going to talk about. 8.5 assists per game. He's been killing it for the Brooklyn Nets, and the Brooklyn Nets are 7-4 right now. And as of right now, I mean, James Harden and Kevin Durant, 2 guys on this list that are from the Brooklyn Nets. These guys are the ones that are expected to come out of the East. We'll see if they can. We'll see if they can make it to the NBA Finals this year. They're not having injury troubles as they were last year. However, Kyrie Irving is having some issues with the COVID vaccine. There are some issues when it comes to having the vaccine. He does not have it. So therefore, there are some games he is not able to play. So we'll see how that saga unwinds throughout the year. But James Harden, let's look at his 2009 Topps rookie card. This card's a cool card as well. I like this card a lot. It looks like there was one abnormality on the sales, and I actually erased that one already. It was at $190. But before that, if we look at the price at October 10th, $2,800 was the price, almost $2,900 actually, on October 10th for this PSA 10. And again, this is a big card, a very, very low pop. Once again, the peak of this card was about $7,000 back in June. And I think that with his season, as long as the Brooklyn Nets continue to play at a very high level, they'll make it to the playoffs, they'll get out of the East, they might make it to the NBA Finals once again. If you can find this card at this valuation, I mean, this is probably going to be the floor for this specific card, because James Harden has been playing very, very well with the supporting cast he has around him in Brooklyn. I think this is going to be a good card to see, and I think that this is going to be the new floor for this rookie card for James Harden. And like I said before, the NBA market might be at the floor right now. It might be the lowest it's been in quite some time. However, I do see this market rebounding. I do see that as being the floor. It will not go lower than that. We will see a bounce back for the NBA, especially when we get into the holidays. We get into Thanksgiving and Christmas. We usually see a huge jump in basketball just because of people watching it more, being with their family, and that's on TV, either basketball or football or hockey too. But basketball is going to see a bounce back for sure. And let us know in the comments below which player that we detailed today you would like in your collection, which card you would like in your collection. Love to get your answer there. And if you like this video, hit that like button. If you like this channel and the content we're creating here, hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell. Every time we drop a new video, you'll be the first to know about it. Thanks once again for watching this week, guys, and we'll see you next time.